Hello everyone. In this video, we are going to learn uniform motion in one dimension. Uniform motion is that motion in which velocity remains constant. For example, this auto rickshaw is moving with a uniform velocity, but in case of mass and spring system, at extreme positions velocity is 0 and at the center position velocity is maximum. That means velocity is changing. So we can say that this is the case of non-uniform motion. So remember, uniform motion is that motion in which velocity is constant. In case of uniform motion, everyone should remember 6 different concepts, out of which first is displacement, which can be defined as change in position. For example, here we can see a ball is starting from left, going to extreme right and coming back to final position. So net displacement will be only AC, but total distance travelled is AB plus BC. So here you should remember displacement and distance both are different. Displacement is the net change in position, whereas distance is the total travelled path. For example, if somebody goes to market and comes back to home, then displacement is 0 because initial and final position is same, but total path travelled or the total distance will be equal to 2d. So this is the way you should remember how to calculate displacement and distance. The next thing you should remember about uniform motion is velocity. That is defined as rate of change of displacement with respect to time. For example, this ball is starting from position x1 and goes up to position x2. That means total change in displacement will be x2 minus x1 and divided by time will be your velocity. Next thing you should remember is average velocity. Here, ratio of total displacement to total time is known as average velocity. This can be applicable in such cases where, for example, this truck is moving from x1 position, goes up to x2 position and comes back to x3 position. Here total displacement is only x1 to x3 or x3 minus x1. That is why in case of average velocity, total displacement will be used divided by time. So in both the cases total displacement is used, but in case of instantaneous velocity or only velocity, we will be using instantaneous displacement. So in case of velocity and average velocity, displacement is used. In next concept, that is speed, distance is used. In previous concept, displacement was used. Here distance will be used. Now you can see in this case speed will be in distance upon time. Only thing is that the speed is a scalar quantity, whereas velocity is a vector quantity, and average speed is the ratio of total distance to total time. Here we can see in both the definitions displacement is replaced by distance. Again, for the same example, we can see the total distance travelled is x1 to x2 plus x2 to x3. This is the total displacement travelled. That is why average speed will be equal to total distance divided by total time, x1 x2 plus x2 x3 divided by t. So these are the 6 concepts you should remember, in which displacement, average velocity and instantaneous velocity, all these 3 are vector quantities, whereas distance, average speed or instantaneous speed, all are scalar quantities. In this video, we will study about uniformly accelerated motion in one dimension. Here, we can see that elephant is falling under gravity. This is an example of uniform acceleration where acceleration A equal to 9.81 at every point. But velocity is continuously increasing. At uppermost position, velocity is 0, then it becomes 5 meter per second, and subsequently it becomes 10 meter per second when elephant reaches the ground. In second example, box is attached with spring and it is oscillating. Here you can see that velocity is varying and acceleration is also varying. That means this is not the case of uniform acceleration. Remember, in uniform acceleration, change in velocity is constant. And if speed is increasing, it will keep increasing. Here in this example, we can see speed is increasing and it will keep increasing until the moment acceleration is constant. And similarly, if speed is decreasing, it will keep decreasing. Here is the definition for acceleration, that is rate of change of velocity, and acceleration is a vector quantity. To find out the acceleration, we can use this formula, that is acceleration equal to v2 minus v1 divided by time, that is change in velocity divided by time. There is another definition for acceleration, or by using derivative concept we can also find out the acceleration. But this particular concept is not the part of this video. We will study this later. Here we can see car is accelerating, that is why the speed will keep increasing from x to y. If suppose acceleration is 10 meter per second square, initially velocity is 0, after 1 second time velocity will become 10 meter per second, after 2 seconds velocity will become 20 meter per second, and so on. Similarly, if acceleration is 5 meter per second square, initially at time t equal to 0, velocity is 0. Subsequently, velocity will increase in the multiple of 5, that is 5, 10, 15, 20 and 25. Similarly, if acceleration is 7 meter per second square, the velocity will increase in the multiple of 7, that is 7, 14, 21, 28. That means here change in velocity is constant in every case. If you look into the formula again, acceleration is equal to v2 minus v1 divided by t, and this can be simplified to write about v2, that is v2 equal to v1 plus at. So this particular equation is known as equation of motion, first equation of motion. Similarly, you should remember two more equations. Those are also known as equations of motion, that is v square equal to v0 square plus 2ax and x equal to v0t plus half of at square. We will study derivations of these equations later. In this session, we will only study linear motion. Here we can see this football player can hit ball in any direction. To define such motions, concept of vector is very important. Vectors are used to represent different physical quantities. For example, displacement, velocity and acceleration. Here we can see vector d can be represented in this format, xi plus yj meters. This unit can specify the type of the vector, that is it is a displacement vector. The meaning of this vector is that there is x amount of or x unit of displacement in x direction and y unit of displacement in y direction. Then vector can also be used to represent the velocity vector, and format for that will be vxi plus vyj, where vx is velocity in x direction, where y is velocity in y direction. Next concept is position vector. Position vectors are those which are passing through origin. Here we can see vector A is passing through origin, that is why it can be said that it is a position vector. Position vectors can be specified by using their coordinates. Here coordinates are 8 and 4, and x coordinate is represented with the help of I cap, and y coordinate is represented with the help of j cap. So this vector becomes 8 I cap plus 4 j cap. This is all about vectors which are passing through origin. If suppose vector is to be calculated which passes through two different points, in that case we will calculate that vector by doing arrowhead coordinates minus respective tail coordinates. If suppose this is a vector and this is arrowhead and this is tail of the vector, then you should find out arrowhead coordinates and subtract tail coordinates from the arrowhead coordinates to calculate the vector passing through two different points. Here arrowhead coordinates are 2, 10 and tail coordinates are 8, 4. So subtracting respective coordinates we will get 2 minus 8i plus 10 minus 4j. It becomes minus 6i plus 6j. So this way one can calculate the vector passing through two different points. Next concept is about addition of multiple vectors which are in loop. For vector addition of such loops, for example this p, q, r, s, t, here vectors in the direction of the loop will be taken as positive and vectors in the opposite direction of the loop will be taken as negative. So vector A is in the direction of the loop, that is PQ, and QR is in the opposite direction of the loop. So that this vector will be taken as negative vector. Vectors which are considered from tail to head are taken as positive, and vector B here is from head to tail. The vector B is considered from head to tail, that is why it is negative vector. So such two vectors are there, one is vector B and other one is vector E, because in P, Q, R, S, T this vector is in opposite direction. That is why here we can see the vector B is negative and also vector E is negative. All the remaining vectors are positive. Vectors can be transferred to any position in space without changing its magnitude and direction. That means if suppose there are two different vectors and one is, these two vectors can be added only if the head leads to the tail. That means one arrow should lead to the tail of the second vector. That means this vector can be transferred up to the head, and now you will get the output for this vector. Similarly, one can transfer the vectors in any position without altering their magnitudes. So this is another example. Here again we can see that both the vectors are meeting at the tail. That is why we need to transfer this vector to the head of another vector. So this is transferred now. Now this will give from this tail to the next arrowhead, the total output of the resultant vector will be this. So magnitude of the resultant will be equal to square root of x square plus y square, where x is the length of this vector and y is the length of this vector. If suppose there is angle theta in between two different vectors, here again we can see the tails are mating at this point. That means to add the vectors we need to transfer this vector up to this arrowhead. By doing this we will get this, and output will be from this to this. So resultant, in this case the resultant can be calculated, or the magnitude of the resultant can be calculated by using this formula, square root of a square plus b square plus 2ab cos theta. Next concept is relative vector. In this case, let us assume that both the cars are moving with same speed. Here both the drivers will experience that nobody is moving, even if the cars are moving. So this is defined with the help of relative vector. Let us assume both the cars have speed of 80 km per hour in x direction, that is why it is represented as 80I for both the cases. So relative velocity of A with respect to B can be calculated by using this formula, vector A minus vector B, because A is the first point and B is the second point. Here A is the observer whereas B is the reference point. For this case, cars are moving in opposite direction. That means for this case the velocity is 80I and for this case velocity is minus 80I. In this case the relative velocity formula is same, but the directions are different. That is why velocity of A with respect to B becomes 160I, whereas velocity of B with respect to A becomes minus 160I. Up till now we have studied these many points, out of which first is position vectors pass through origin. Next is vectors can be translated anywhere in the space. Then vector in direction of arrowhead is positive and vector in direction of tail is negative. The vector passing through two different points can be calculated by using this formula, where 2 indicates the position for head and 1 indicates the position for tail. Relative velocity of A with respect to B is equal to velocity of A minus velocity of B. And magnitude of the resultant is square root of A square plus B square plus 2AB cos theta. So you should remember these many points. In this video, we are going to learn about use of differentiation and integration to solve problems on motion. Before starting this concept, everyone must understand the formula for velocity and acceleration. Velocity is change in position divided by time, whereas acceleration is change in velocity divided by time. Here we can see the meaning of differentiation and integration. These are just mathematical operators which are exactly opposite of each other. As we know that addition and subtraction are exactly opposite operators to each other, and multiplication and division are also exactly opposite to each other. In the same fashion, differentiation and integration are exactly opposite to each other. In this video, we will try to understand the use or purpose of differentiation and integration operators in mathematics. Let us start with an example. If suppose displacement function is given, that is x equal to 60. To find out velocity, we need to find out the different values for x at different times. For example, if you put t equal to 0, you will get x equal to 0. If you put t equal to 1, then you will get x equal to 6, and so on. This particular thing can be represented on xt diagram, because this is a straight line. This is the equation of straight line. It will give a straight line in the xt diagram. To find out velocity at different points, we can use this formula, that is change in position divided by time. So here change in position for the first case is 6 and the change in time is 1 second. So ultimately you will get velocity equal to 6. To find out velocity again for second case, we will take these two input points. Here the final position is 18 and initial position is 6. This way you will get again the velocity equal to 6. So you can observe that the equation of straight line is x equal to 60. This is in the form of y equal to mx plus c, where m is slope. That means here slope of the line is 6 and the velocity is equal to 6, that is equal to slope of the line. This is a clear case of uniform motion and it is quite simple to find out velocity. Let us try the same thing for complicated equation. For example, here the displacement function is 0.5 t square. For this, if you put time equal to 0 up to 6 seconds, you will get these different values. For example, if you put x equal to 1, then the output will be equal to 0.5. If you put x equal to 4, that 4 4 is 16 and 16 multiplied by 0.5 will be equal to 8. So if you try to represent this particular thing on the xt diagram, it will not be a straight line, because this is not the equation of straight line. So it will be a curve. So to find out average velocity, in this case the velocity is increasing and there will be there you can find out the average velocity for this case. So for first case, you can see the average velocity will be equal to change in position divided by change in time. We are doing the same thing again as we have seen on the previous slide. Here the change in position is 0.5 and change in time is 1. So ultimately average velocity is 0.5. Let us see this for a different case. Here we can see the change in position is 8 minus 4.5. So change in position is 8 minus 4.5 and change in time is again 1 second. So here average velocity is 3.5. If you compare, you will understand that the velocity or average velocity is increasing. That means the instantaneous velocity at every point is increasing, and this is a case of accelerated motion. To find out instantaneous velocity, here we can say that the graph has a curve and the slope at every point, at every different point will be different. So it means velocity is changing or the slope of the graph is changing. Here we can observe the slope at different position is different. Here you can observe the slope is less at this point but slope is higher at this point. It means velocity is changing or the slope of the graph is changing. To find out slope of such complicated equations, differentiation is used. Here on xt diagram, slope of the graph will give velocity. For example, here you can see the velocity is always equal to differentiation of the displacement with respect to time. If suppose the x value is t raised to n, then in differentiation we will multiply with the existing power and we will reduce the power by 1. So n is the existing power, we will multiply that power and that already existing power is reduced by 1. So this way you can perform the differential operation and find out the velocity directly. For example, here you can see the 0.5 t square is the displacement equation. To find out the derivative for this equation or differential for this equation, we can see that the power is multiplied and power is reduced by 1. So existing power is 2. So multiply this power. So 2 multiplied by t raised to 2 minus 1 will be the differentiation. Here you can see 0.5 will be as it is, multiplied by 2, that is the existing power, and multiplied by t raised to 2 minus 1 because we need to reduce the power by 1. If you solve this, you will get 0.5 multiplied by 2 will be equal to 1 and t raised to 2 minus 1 will be equal to t. So ultimately the velocity is equal to t. Here if you are interested to find out the velocity at 1 second, you will put one value in place of t, that is 1 meter per second. If you are interested to find out velocity at third second or instantaneous velocity at 3 seconds, the answer will be equal to 3 meter per second. Remember that the purpose of differentiation is to find out the slope, and slope is changing at every different time. Here one more thing you should remember, that always differentiation is taken at a point, at a certain point. So certain point is here 1 second and here it is 3 seconds. Now let us try to understand the use of integration operator. Let us start with a simple example, that is if suppose velocity is equal to 10 meter per second for any object. For this you can represent this particular velocity equal to 10 meter on VT diagram. Because velocity is constant, there will be a horizontal line. To find out velocity, we know this is the formula. Now we will try to find out the change in position. To find out change in position, in between 4 seconds and 10 seconds, we will take these two as input points. So put these values in this above equation. You will get x2 minus x1 will be equal to v into t2 minus t1, and v is 10 meter per second, t2 is 10 and t1 is 4. So you will get 10 6 are 60. So displacement, here I can say that the displacement is nothing but the surface area under this curve. Here we can see this x-axis length is 10 minus 4, that is 6, and height of the graph, that is 10. So 10 6 are 60. It is nothing but the surface area of the VT diagram. If you want to find out displacement from velocity, it should be the surface area under the VT diagram. So this is very simple case. If you try to do this for a complicated case, for example velocity equal to 0.5 t square, that means velocity is not constant now, it is changing. For this kind of graph, it is a curve like this. For this, if suppose we have input values t1 and t2, then we will say that it is a problem of definite integral, because we have the lower limit and upper limit. Here velocity is changing, so it is complicated to find surface area under VT diagram. To find displacement, as we have seen in the previous slide, displacement is nothing but the surface area under the curve, and to find out surface area under this curve is quite complicated. In such cases, integration operator is used. So to use integration operator, we can use this kind of formula: integration of v dt from t1 to t2. So these are the limits which are shown like this, equal to, suppose velocity is given in this format, that is t raised to n. In this case, we will do increase power and divide power. For example, in this case, existing power is n, so we will first increase the power, so n plus 1, and divide power to the whole term. So n plus 1 will be divided here, and the limits are also indicated, that is from t1 to t2, and this is nothing but the area under the VT diagram. By using integration, you will directly get this particular thing. Let us use this particular equation in this formula, that is 0.5 t square. To find out the integration, we will increase the power and divide the power. So here power is 2, so it is increased by 1, that is 2 plus 1, and now the power is increased, that increased power will be divided to whole term. So 0.5 will remain as it is. This particular function has values from t1 to t2. So that will be represented by replacing this t with the values t2 first, and then subtracting it by replacing the t1. So automatically you will get the surface area under this curve from t1 to t2. So here we can say that the integration is the way to find out surface area under the curve, and it is taken over the interval or over the limit from t1 to t2, for example. So in case of indefinite interval, for example, if suppose there are no limiting values provided to you, that is t1 and t2, so t1 and t2 is not there here. So in this case, the integration is written in this form. So power is increased by 1 and it is divided to the whole term. Plus constant is written, and this constant is called as integral constant. Here you can see the area under it is again the area under VT diagram. So integration of v dt, here limits are not there, that is why it is known as indefinite integral. Earlier one was the definite integral, this one is the indefinite integral. In case of indefinite integral, this procedure is same, power is increased and power is divided, plus constant will be there. So you have to remember that if the limits are given, then there will be subtraction of two different limits, and if the limits are not given, then constant will be there in the output of the integration. Use of differentiation we can summarize now. If you take the differentiation of the displacement, you will get the velocity, and if you take the integration of the velocity, then you will get the displacement. So this is, you can say, so it is exactly opposite to each other. In the same fashion, if you take the derivative of the velocity with respect to time, you will get the acceleration, and if you take the integration of acceleration with respect to time, you will get the velocity. These two operations are exactly opposite. Here you can find out all the points we have studied up till now. If the displacement is given, then to find out velocity and acceleration, you need to take the derivative. If displacement is given, first derivative will give the velocity and second derivative will give the acceleration. Derivative is always taken at a point, and it is nothing but the slope of the curve. If suppose acceleration is given, then we need to take the integration of the equation, you will get the velocity. If you take again integration, then you will get the displacement. So it depends on what is given in your statement and what quantity you are going to find out. Integration is the way to find out surface area, and it is taken over the interval of time. and limits are provided, upper limit and lower limit, as we discussed. In this session, we are going to learn about use of graphs to represent different types of motions. Let us start with XT graph, that is displacement time graph. So in this case, we should have a measuring scale and timer so that we can measure distance and time both. If suppose there is a car which is not working and it is stalled at 4 unit distance, whatever may be the time, because this car is not working, it will remain at this particular position. To represent this particular phenomenon on XT graph, we can draw it like this. Because the displacement is at 4, it is going to be the horizontal line. Whatever may be the time, the displacement will be 4 always, because car A is not working. So this way we should be able to find out the XT graph for each case. If suppose this bus is moving with uniform velocity with v equal to 1 meter per second, when uniform velocity is there, we have the displacement formula equal to velocity into time, and velocity is 1 meter per second, so that we can find out the displacement for every next moment. So for bus, if you find out displacement at different points, you will get output like this. If you try to represent this particular motion on XT graph, you can see that the motion will start from the origin, because the vehicle is starting from the origin. It will start from the origin, and if you plot it, it will be a straight line inclined at 45 degrees, because x is equal to t. Here you can see this straight line indicates the motion for bus. That means we can say that if the velocity is constant or the uniform velocity is there for any object, that should represent a straight line on XT graph. Now let us see what happens with the accelerated body. For example, this car is initially at 0 speed and later it increases the speed of the car. So speed of the car is continuously increasing, that means it is an accelerated motion, and the acceleration of the car is 1 meter per second square in this case. To find out displacement in case of accelerated motion, we have the third equation of motion, that is x equal to ut plus half at square. Here initial velocity for the car is 0. So we will this first term will become 0, and later we can put different times to calculate the displacement, because we have acceleration. If you put different times in this equation, you will get this kind of output for the displacement. At 0 time, the displacement is 0. At 1 second, displacement will be 0.5. And at 10 seconds, if you put at time t equal to 10, it will become 100, and acceleration is 1 meter per second. 100 by 2 will become 50. So in this way, you will get different displacement at different time. And if you try to represent this particular motion on the XT graph, you will get a curve, not the straight line, because this is an accelerated motion. Also you can see that the x equal to ut plus half at square is equal to half of at square. That means displacement is directly proportional to the t square. This is a quadratic or second degree equation. The second degree equation is always a curve. Now we can see that the car V is accelerating, and accelerated motion will be represented by a curve on XT diagram. So we can conclude from these three different cases that horizontal line indicates velocity equal to 0 and acceleration equal to 0, whatever may be the object. So object is not relevant, only looking at the graph you should be able to understand what is the velocity and acceleration for that particular object. Now in case of bus, we can say that this is uniformly moving object, and it is having acceleration equal to 0, because the velocity of the bus is not changing. So the properties for this bus are velocity is constant and acceleration is 0. Similarly, for car B, there is change in velocity. Velocity at this position, velocity is 0. Later velocity increases. That means there is a change in velocity, and uniform acceleration is there in this case. If the second degree curve is there, then we can say that it will represent change in velocity and acceleration equal to constant. Whatever may be the examples of the moving bodies, we should remember these different natures of the graphs. That means horizontal line will indicate the zero velocity and zero acceleration, whereas straight line will indicate the uniform motion. In that case, acceleration will be zero, velocity will be constant. And in a curve, you can say that change in velocity will be there and acceleration will be constant for second degree equations. To summarize our conclusions, you should remember this particular thing. Let us add few insights to this particular graph. For example, if suppose there are two different straight lines, that V1 and V2. In this case, the slope of this line is lesser than the slope of this line because this is more steeper. If you compare in 1 second, the displacement in this case will be higher, and this indicates a higher velocity. That means V2 is greater than V1. So higher the slope, higher will be the velocity. In this case, if you see, as the time increases, the displacement decreases, and displacement decreases means it is in negative velocity. This curve, we can say, if somebody is looking from the top, this is concave curve, which indicates the positive acceleration. But in case of convex curve, if you look from the top, it is a convex curve. And in this case, if you see the different velocities at different points, because you know that instantaneous velocity at a specific point is the slope of the tangent. So we will draw two different tangents at two different points of the graph. So first tangent is here, this will indicate the instantaneous velocity at this point, and second tangent is here, this will indicate the instantaneous velocity at this point. If you compare, the slope is higher for V1, and that means velocity of V1 is greater than velocity of V2. As time increases, you can say the velocity is reducing, and velocity reduces when there is deceleration or negative acceleration. So convex curve indicates the negative acceleration. So you should remember such behaviors or different natures of the graph. So just by looking at the graph, one should be able to understand what is the type of motion there is happening in that particular object. Now let us see the velocity time graph. To find out velocities at different points, we will take the same examples as we have seen earlier. In this, car A is not working at all. So whatever may be the time, the velocity for this car will be 0, irrespective of the time. So here we can see, whatever may be the time, the velocity of the car A is 0. To represent this phenomenon, this will be represented on x-axis because the time is increasing, but car A is not having any velocity, that is, velocity is 0. So next example is the bus. If suppose the bus is moving with velocity 5 meters per second and the velocity is uniform, that means there is no acceleration. Here you can observe that the velocity of the bus is constant throughout its journey. That means whatever may be the time, again the velocity is constant. So for the constant velocity, we can represent this particular phenomenon with a horizontal line at velocity equal to 5. Any horizontal line will indicate the velocity is constant. For example, this bus. What if the object is moving with an accelerated motion? For example, this car B is moving with an accelerated motion. The initial velocity of the car is 0, and for such motion we can use the first equation of motion, that is v equal to u plus at. Here initial velocity u is 0, that is why this formula will become v equal to at. Here acceleration is given, that is 2 meters per second square. For different times there will be different velocities. Here you can observe that the velocity is increasing. At 0 time the velocity is 0. When time becomes 1 second, if you put the value 1 here in this formula, and 2 meters per second square is the acceleration, so velocity becomes 2 meters per second. If you put the value of time equal to 10 seconds, 10 multiplied by 2 will be equal to 20. So velocity becomes 20 meters per second when the time is 10. If you plot velocity graph for this phenomenon, again you will get a straight line, but it will be an inclined straight line. Here you can observe that at around 7 seconds, the velocity must be 14 meters per second. So whatever may be the objects, we should understand what is the nature of the graph. For example, this x-axis indicates the velocity is 0 and acceleration is also 0. Any horizontal line indicates there is velocity which is constant. It has some value, but it is constant, and acceleration is 0. If the line is inclined on VT diagram, then we can say that it indicates the accelerated motion. Here velocity will have some change. Also, if you try to find out the displacement, that is nothing but the surface area under the VT diagram. So velocity is indicated by horizontal line. If you multiply this velocity with time, you will get the surface area under this curve. That means the surface area under VT diagram is nothing but the displacement. If you remember these particular things, you will be able to solve the problems on VT diagram. Now let us study the acceleration time graph. Again we will see the nature of different types of motions. So first example is the car which is not working. For this we can say that acceleration is 0 because there is no motion at all. So for car A, acceleration is 0. So this particular motion can be represented by using x-axis. So now second example is bus. If suppose bus is moving with 5 meters per second, we are interested to find out acceleration. In this case acceleration is again 0 because there is no change in velocity. So this bus is also indicated on x-axis. But for this car B, there is acceleration of 6 meters per second square, for example, and it is constant whatever may be the time. So if the acceleration is constant, that must be represented with the help of horizontal line. So horizontal line on AT diagram indicates the accelerated motion. As we have seen earlier, because this is horizontal line and acceleration formula is change in velocity divided by change in time. So change in velocity will be equal to acceleration into time. And for this case, if you put acceleration value multiplied by change in time, you will get the surface area under this diagram or under AT diagram. So surface area under AT diagram is change in velocity. You should remember these particular points regarding AT diagram.